I had a few minutes before class started. By a few, I mean actually like 25. So I figured I could get through 8 of these. Um, yeah, I draw stand on everything. It's a bad habit. Um, so 5 of these are from Nitrate Glow, and she asked first personal theme song. I don't really think I have one. Um, I really can't think of anything that when I sit there and really think about lyrics and whatnot, there's nothing really that I think feels like me to me. And I mean, I can go and think about this more, but I just have never really felt like a song has this, really encompassed my entire life. I mean, I've tried, but favorite pre-code film? That's a good question because I like a lot of stuff from the 1920s. In terms of comedy, there's quite a few, but they don't really violate, the Hays Code in that way. Although there is, I believe, at least one Laurel and Hardy film that actually makes a prostitute joke, which is pretty great. They are making noise in a hotel because they've done something or other. And the hotel manager comes in and says that this is a respectable establishment and he will not have any of this. And as he's talking, behind him, you see a woman walk by, followed by a sailor. And it's a very clever joke. They don't say anything, but you know exactly what's going on. So, which is typical of Stan's writing. He kind of could sneak things in that way. Favorite warm beverage, definitely Earl Grey tea. I drink it a lot, especially when I'm sick. It's really, really wonderful to have that. Uh, Last film everyone knows I want to find hats off. I want to be the person who finds hats off. But if I don't find it and somebody else does, that's okay. I just would like to have it more than I think anything else. Humor risk would also be nice because that's pretty much rumored to be gone completely. So that would be cool. Also, anything Data Borrow did would be excellent because we've lost pretty much everything because Nitrate likes to light on fire. I also would absolutely love, this isn't a film, but the BBC had this tape wiping policy that went from the 60s through the 80s, and they wiped the vast majority of the episodes of Not Only But Also, despite Peter Cook and Dudley Moore offering to buy the tapes, and it makes me very angry as an archivist that this was done. However, recently they did find some Doctor Who episodes that they believe to be lost I believe they found them in Australia. Since Not Only But Also is also exported to countries like Australia and New Zealand, there's a possibility, very slim possibility, that there are tapes that exist. And if we find those, that I would be over the moon. Like, it would be like my dream come true. Uh, Film that makes me feel better. Anything Stan and Dave did because they're just so filled with happiness and love and all of these things, and it just kind of like emanates from everything that they do. You feel this love coming out of their work, and I just think that's wonderful. Um, Without the two of them, I'd also have to say though, definitely the original version of Arthur always has it helped me through my senior year of high school. I was in a lot. It's a lot of stress. The whole getting into college thing, keeping up your GPA thing, and looking. You have to look good for schools. And if I was really stressed out, I could pop that in. Spend an hour and a half with Dudley. I'd feel better. It was wonderful. Okay, so Jean Marilyn Simmons is if I had free time to really focus on my art, what would I do with it? Oh my gosh, so many things. Art is a hobby to me, really. I've never anticipated trying to make a career out of it, and even if I do sell things, that's just kind of a nice aside to my actual archiving career. But I think if I had the time, I'd probably love to really do some serious comic work. Like, not serious in the fact that, like, in terms of tone, because obviously I can't write serious things. I can only write really stupid things. So it would obviously still have to be very humorous, but I'd really love to get in depth and do some really extensive pieces, and print them as books and stuff. It would be, and I'd love to do comics about historical figures more because I'd love to really write some historical graphic novels about some really cool people. Two that come to mind are Jackie Mitchell and Bessie Coleman. I'd love to do. But there's a lot of other ones that I would absolutely really enjoy telling the stories of. All right, so Jim Moroniari. Okay, Ollie. Easiest and hardest parts of writing and drawing subjectively for me. Drawing, it's definitely perspective. I have this violent hatred of perspective. And for some reason, despite the fact that I write a comic that really actually has them as a main theme, I cannot draw cars. And I have been doing this for years and I still cannot draw cars. So there's really no explanation for that. In terms of writing, I also cannot write serious things. Like I feel like if my characters have to do something heartfelt, I always worry that it sounds really sappy and disgusting. Even when people say no, it's good. To me, it's always a concern that it's not. For me, things that come easily are comedy. I can't really write anything serious, but I can write funny things. I can write stupid things, and it's basically my skill area is just I can only do stupid things. I am Trumpy. In terms of drawing, I've actually always been pretty good at, ironically, given the fact that I'm autistic, facial expressions. I have no idea why I'm good at that. It's fun. Okay, sorry for the brief interruption there. Class started, so now, an hour and a half later, Kelly asked me what made me choose archiving and history as a career. Originally, I actually wanted to be a scientist. I was going to go into either paleontology or astronomy, depending on which programs I got into. I really, really wanted to be a paleontologist from the time I was 4 or so, and I was very determined to do this. I talked to this fellow named Mark Norell at the Museum of Natural History when I was 10. I asked him how I could have a job like his, and he told me I had to be lucky. And a few years later, I discovered I was bad at math and probably could not pursue a career in the sciences because I struggled with math, and it was probably more the way I was being taught than anything else. But I ended up trying to find a way I could still go and work in a museum, and history came up. I had gotten into Lord of the Rings at the time, and I was trying to see all the things the actors were doing in other fields. And Sean Bean had done these TV movies based on these novels by Bernard Cornwell set during the Napoleonic Wars, and I read them and I watched them and I got so hooked. Basically, Sharp is a really good series, with an E, Sharp with an E. And I realized that I was really into this, and I realized that I could make this into a career. So I went off to Gettysburg. I majored in history, minored in Civil War studies, and when I was a senior, my professor, who was overseeing my thesis, Professor Peter Carmichael, the man, he noted that I really had this very strong engagement and interest in working with the primary sources that we were doing. We were working with Civil War court-martials from Gettysburg that were at the National Archives down in D.C., the main building. And he said to me one day when we were having private meetings, why have I considered being an archivist? And I said, well, no, I thought I was going to be a historian or, some kind of an academic. I'd never thought about archiving. And he told me I should consider it. Turns out it was what I was supposed to do, I guess. It's really my niche. And I'm really, really loving it so far. Actually, you can see I'm in one of my classrooms right now recording this after an archiving class. And actually, interestingly enough, I'm going to be applying to the Museum of Natural History, where Mark Norell, the paleontologist, works, for an internship. And we're going to see if I can't eventually get myself a job that I would have loved to have when I was 4. Eventual goal, really a career goal, would be to be in the collections department in the paleontology department of the Museum of Natural History. That would be perfect. So I think that's everything. Sorry for the interruption in the middle there. Class happened. See you guys soon. Bye.